So let's start. Yes, ma'am. Please, आप start कर लें.
So today we'll be doing operations planning and control, because this is the actual how you do things, how you plan, how you execute your whatever you are doing. If I take, for example, first thing is the aggregate planning. Aggregate planning is intermediate range capacity planning used to establish employment levels, output rates, inventory levels, subcontracting, and back orders for production that are aggregated. For example, from our daily life, I can say, see, your monthly budget, it is not long term. Generally, I'm not saying it is always that, but generally we plan for 1 month. पूरे साल का एक महीने के लिए हम लोग प्लान करते हैं कि इस महीने क्या क्या लेना है. तो एग्रीगेट है जो बल्क में लेना है. जैसे वी टेक, suppose we buy rice, we buy flour, we buy butter, so many things we buy. It is not कि we are buying rice only for making rice. It can be for pulao, it can be for fried rice, it can be for kheer, anything. Similarly, if you are buying flour, it can be for roti, it can be for paratha, it can be for tandoori, anything. So, but it is aggregate for the whole month. You make a जो आपका, because whoever is running that operation has a knowledge about what has been the demand in the past years, plus he or she studies the market and finds out what will be future demand, and by combining these two data they make a forecast. Okay, for this particular period, like for a household, I said, for you buy things for a month, maybe for a company it can be for 18 days, it can be for 1 month, it can be more than, but it is for short period, not for a longer period. That is grouped or brought together. It does not specifically focus on individual products, but deals with the products in the aggregate. That's why I told you as I told you, you're buying flour. It is not only for making chapati. It can be for several things. You might be making some sweet out of it. You can be making something else out of it. Whatever it is for everything. So that is aggregate. In any company also, when they are making, say, suppose they are making oil, or for example, color can be red, blue, green. It is not only for making red color or green color. That will be later on when we disaggregate it. Aggregate production planning is a method of analyzing, developing, and maintaining a schedule for production to ensure uninterrupted production for the midterm, usually 6 to 18 months. That is usually, but it is for a shorter term. It is not for
आपका फेस नहीं दिख रहा है मैम कैमरे पे.
अच्छा अच्छा.
हाँ,
अब
जब
दिख
भी
रहा है.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं. और जब भी आपको बदलना हो ना स्लाइड, तो बस आप नेक्स्ट बोल दीजिएगा.
हाँ,
ठीक. ओके ओके, गो अहेड.
तो it is for a shorter period. all things you all in aggregate का मतलब ही हुआ ना कि इकट्ठे तुम क्या खरीदना है, उससे फिर इंडिविजुअल देखा जाएगा बाद में कि क्या क्या बनाना है. This plan rates relies on demand forecast to properly estimate the use of resources, giving the business or manufacturing company an estimate of what is needed. Some of the resources considered during the aggregate plan process are raw materials, infrastructure, and वर्कफोर्स. और कितने लोग लगेंगे, किसको क्या काम, उनको क्या स्किल चाहिए, कैसा किसको क्या काम करना है. I've also given you a very simple explanation where I have taken a cafe. Suppose you are making samosa, tea or coffee. So for that, who will make the coffee, who will serve, who will do cleaning, all those things. So workforce, कितने वर्कफोर्स चाहिए. ये नहीं है कि अभी से देख लो कि हाँ आपको 4-5 लोग चाहिए सारे काम करने के लिए. तो दैट इज इन टोटल. क्या वर्कफोर्स चाहिए, क्या क्या रॉ मटेरियल्स चाहिए, क्या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए, ये सब उस समय हम डिसाइड करते हैं व्हेन वी आर डूइंग एग्रीगेट प्रोडक्शन प्लानिंग. Aggregate planning is intermediate range capacity planning used to establish employment levels, output rates, inventory levels, subcontracting, and back orders for products that are aggregated, that is, grouped or brought together. It does not specifically focus on individual products but deals with the products in an aggregate. ऑल सब चीजों के लिए आपको क्या क्या रॉ मटेरियल चाहिए, कितने लोग चाहिए, क्या इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए. जैसे मान लीजिए आप एक कैफे चला रहे हैं तो नेचुरली एक किचन चाहिए, आपको एक जगह चाहिए जहां आप बिठा के लोगों को खिला सकते हैं, आपको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चाहिए, आपको गैस चाहिए, जो भी आपको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चाहिए. इसी तरह एक कोई कंपनी है वो बाइक बना रहा है तो दे विल रिक्वायर डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ, बट हाँ ये तो है ही, मटेरियल चाहिए, मैन और वुमेन जो भी हो, आई एम कवरिंग बोथ. देन मनी, without that is the backbone of every business or everyone. So all these things you put together to produce something. Next. But here it is on totality.
बदल दिया, चेंज हो गया.
अच्छा, चेंज हो गया. Actually, no, it is reading in this small, yes, big problem. Aggregate planning is a marketing
आप एक काम करें ना
activity.
कि इनमें से किसी का नाम ले लिया करिए, स्मृति का, साक्षी का, परी का, सो दे विल रीड एंड देन यू कैन एक्सप्लेन, नो प्रॉब्लम.
ओके.
स्मृति
हाँ,
पढ़ लो.
कौन है? स्मृति, तुम
Yes,
पढ़ो.
yes, ma'am. Aggregate planning is a marketing activity that does an aggregate plan for the production process in advance of 3 to 18 months to give an idea to management as to what quantity of materials and other resources are to be procured and when, so that the total cost of operations of the organization is kept to the minimum over that period. The quantity of outsourcing, subcontracting of items, overtime of labor, numbers to be hired and fired in each period, and the amount of inventory to be held in stock and to be backlogged for each period are decided. All of these activities are done within the framework of the company ethics, policies, and long-term commitment to the society, community, and the country of operation. Aggregate planning has certain pre-required inputs which are inevitable. They include information about the resources and the facilities available.
I will continue it. So first of all, here you have to plan for whatever you are going to do, whatever you are going to produce, whatever material you require for it, how many people, whether like something can be, your product might be seasonal. For that season, you might need some extra help. So you also plan for hiring someone, or you won't be needing that many people. So you'll be firing someone, whatever you have to do for that particular period. It can be 6 to 18 months. And then some materials you might be outsourcing. For example, if you are working in a very big organization, for example, you take Banaras Locomotive Works. So many parts of the locomotives are not manufactured at BLW. They are manufactured by the suppliers and they give that input. So whether you will be outsourcing certain things, from where you will be outsourcing, at what cost you will be outsourcing it, at what time you require it, everything should be made clear at that time so that your production moves smoothly and you don't have any blockage. Because once there is blockage in your production, your profit will be affected, your good name will be affected. So this is the very important part of any, when you are starting any working at any organization, you have to put on the which all materials, how many people you require, which all infrastructure you require in bulk for all the things which you are producing. You are not only producing one thing or two things. So everything together, it is aggregate. Next. First is your information. Yes, demand forecast.
Demand forecast for the period for which the planning has to be done, cost of various alternatives and resources. This includes cost of holding inventory, ordering cost, cost of production through various production alternatives like subcontracting, back ordering, and overtime, organizational policies regarding the usage of above alternatives. Aggregate planning is concerned with matching supply and demand of output over the medium time range up to approximately 12 months into the future. The term aggregate implies that planning is done for a single overall measure of output or at the most a few aggregated product categories. The aim of aggregate planning is to set overall output levels in the near to medium future in the face of fluctuating or uncertain demands. Aggregate planning might seek to influence demand as well as supply.
So here, first of all, you need information, correct information about your resources, from where to get, at what price to get, everything. What all infrastructure you require to make that product, what will be the cost of operating that infrastructure, so that, because finally all these things will reflect on your price, and price will reflect on your profit. So over here, as I told you, the aim is to give the best quality at the least cost. So you have to look at everything in totality so that your operation is both effective and efficient. Suppose whether there is other alternative way of doing the same thing in a better way, whether suppose something happens to your supplier, whether there is alternative who will supply in his or her absence, everything you have to see to it that your operation is working smoothly and least wastage is there. And another thing, last time I had forgotten to tell you, all these things you have to keep in mind, the rules and regulation and ethics, doing the right thing. ये नहीं है कि just to cut cost you take wrong decisions or maybe do something which should not be done in the society. So these things also have to be kept in, in the person whoever is doing this planning. Okay, you are part of a society. Any organization is not living operating in isolation. He or she, whoever is running that organization, is part of the society, and they are taking the input from the society. So they have a very good have to have a very good relationship with the society, for with their customers, so that in the long run they are doing the right thing in the right way. Yes, next.
पढ़ो पढ़ो स्मृति, आज के लिए डिजिग्नेटेड हो तुम। ठीक है,
Okay, sir.
डोंट।
It is
Aggregate.
आज तुम पढ़ लो, कल साक्षी का टर्म रहेगा, परसों परी का रहेगा। ठीक।
Okay, okay, sir. Aggregate plan strategies. Level plans. Use a constant workforce and produce similar quantities each time period. Use inventories and back orders to absorb demand peaks and valleys. Use inventories in better way to absorb the peak of demand and valleys. Chase plans. Minimize finished good inventories by trying to keep pace with fluctuations. Matches demand varying either workforce level or output rate. Hybrid strategies. Build up inventory ahead of rising demand and use back orders to level extreme peaks. Lay off or furlough workers during lulls. subcontract production or hire temporary workers to cover short-term peaks, reassign workers to preventive maintenance during lulls.
So aggregate planning can be done in three ways. First is your level plans, when you know okay, exactly what is going to happen in that particular period. So you keep a same type of operation. Second is your chase plan, where things can fluctuate. Suppose you are in say garment industry, so demand will fluctuate according to the whatever is in the trend. Suppose today one type of clothing is in trend, or some one type of color is in trend, next month that might change. So you have to keep pace with that trend, and for that you don't have to make it in bulk. You try to make it according to the demand in a shorter period, and but be ready for anything else if some changes happens. So should be more flexible, whether you need extra manpower, you need extra infrastructure, all these things you have to keep in mind. And third is your hybrid, where you are using both the level. Some things can be in, constant, and something can be varying with time. Next.
Concept of aggregate planning. For example, imagine a paint company that produces blue, brown, and pink paints. The aggregate plan in this case would be expressed as the total amount of the paint without specifying how much of it would be blue, brown, or pink. Such an aggregate plan may dictate, for example, the production of 100,000 gallons of paint during an intermediate range planning horizon, say during the whole year. The plan can later be disaggregated as to how much blue, brown, or pink paint to produce every specific time period, say every month.
So as I told you, it is aggregate is for the bulk. You are making, as I had given you this example also, that you might be producing paint of different colors. Maybe in one month, blue color is more in demand. So here it cannot be level. It can be chase. It has to be changed according to the demand. So that is, like for example, in operation planning and control, there are different stages. First is your aggregate planning, then you disaggregate. Like over here, the first is you not putting color in the paint. You're just bland paint. Then according to the demand, you color the paint. So that time you are disaggregating it. And third is your master schedule. What to do on which day. That at the how the whole plan has to be executed. Then comes, this was right from the beginning, when even when we were doing things manually. Then came machines, then came computers. So in computerization, we moved to material required planning, that is MRP1, which says ki all these things are whatever we were doing manually now has been was converted into machine readable language, and machines were storing the data, telling us what to do, when to do. Then we moved to MRP2, manufacturing requirement planning. Here we added other things also. Okay, once you are making something, you'll be selling it somewhere, you need money from somewhere, everything, marketing. So all these were included in that. Then came your ERP. You can compare with any living organism. Like we have so many organs in our body, but they are all integrated together to for the betterment of our body, isn't it? ये तो नहीं है कि केवल वन ऑर्गन को ठीक रखोगे तो तुम्हारा बॉडी ठीक रहेगा. तो तो from individualism, now we have moved to integration. Just next.
Elements of aggregate production planning. There are a few factors every supply chain must consider when setting up an aggregate production plan. Demand. This is the customer's interest in the product being produced. Remember, you need at least 6 to 18 months of forecast for an effective aggregate plan. With this, the production team or supply chain knows what to expect from their customers, helping them plan accordingly. Capital. This is the financial resource available to the supply chain, which plays a role in how much of the demand the organization can meet up with. Workforce. This is the human resource available to the business. The organization may increase or reduce as it sees fit as the demand dictates. Policy. Every business has a policy for planning and meeting customer demands. These policies are usually built on successful strategies and play significant roles when drawing up aggregate production plan. Other elements include current inventory levels, production time, and technology.
क्या हुआ? एक्चुअली मेरे यहाँ लाइट चली गई है, तो
अब आपको ये दिख रहा है कि नहीं दिख रहा है?
नहीं दिख तो रहा है मगर उसकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
अरे स्मृति,
Yes, sir.
एक
हाँ
बार,
अब आ रही है।
हाँ एक बार फिर से पढ़ना है या फिर पढ़ दिया जितना?
आई थिंक दैट इज सेल्फ एक्सप्लेन, डिमांड, कैपिटल, वर्कफोर्स, पॉलिसी, ये
हाँ हाँ,
चार चीज जरूरी है।
ठीक है, मूव ऑन नेक्स्ट।
नेक्स्ट,
ओके,
How to set up an aggregate production plan. There are two methods of creating an aggregate production plan, formally or informally. The formal method usually involves a complex mathematical approach. However, the informal method is most often used. The general process is as follows. Determine the requirements and demands of the market for various periods. Evaluate the capacities for overtime, subcontracting, and regular time. Identify the department and company policies associated with maintaining adequate stock to meet market demand. Determine the cost of inventories, regular time, back order, layoffs, subcontracting, overtime, and other costs. Formation of alternative strategy and determining the cost of each plan. The appropriate strategy that addresses the company's objectives needs to be chosen.
this is the same thing which explain in more detail. That is, you have to know the demand, you know how to when to hire more people, when to uh, reduce your workforce, what infrastructure to use, all these things, and then you do the whole aggregate planning. Next,
Disaggregating the aggregate plan. Disaggregation of aggregate plans mean converting an aggregate plan to a detailed master production schedule for each individual item. Keep in mind that unless the results of the aggregate plan can be linked to the master production schedule, the aggregate planning methodology could have little value.
like for example, if you are producing nuts and bolts, so for that, how much iron do you need? That will be your aggregate. From there, how many nuts you have to produce, how many bolts you have to produce. So that is disaggregating, individual. As I told you, even in a house, the ration which we buy, that is in aggregate. You buy it for the whole month. Don't make it very, not generally not beyond 1 month, because you don't know what will happen next month, what demand might change, your taste might change. So over there, with that same flour, what all you are going to make, so that is disaggregating it. So from aggregate we have moved to disaggregate. Then master scheduling is what you are doing every day. Like for maybe on day one you are making chapatis, in day two you are making parathas. So this is from the same flour. एग्रीगेट तो एक ही साथ खरीदे ना, उसको फिर हमने डिसएग्रीगेट किया कि हम ये बनाएंगे, ये बनाएंगे, ये बनाएंगे, फिर किस दिन क्या करेंगे. That is your master schedule. So this is the way anything, any whatever you're doing, this is the way it is operating, so that your flow does not get disrupted.
एग्जैक्टली। अगर कोई डाउट हो रहा हो साक्षी, स्मृति, परी, तो प्लीज मैम
हाँ
से आप
पूछो।
पूछो।
हाँ पूछो स्मृति।
Ma'am, what what is can you explain level plan again? Ma'am, level plan and
लेवल प्लान है ना, कि
phase.
जैसे पता है जनरली घर में क्या है, लेवल ही प्लान है, हम जानते हैं कि क्या होगा। तो ये नहीं है, मगर चेस प्लान में है कि मान लो कि आज इस चीज का डिमांड है, कल किसी और चीज का डिमांड हो गया, तो दैट इज यू कीप समथिंग इन स्टोर फॉर द फ्यूचर। और जैसे वर्कफोर्स है, ज्यादा लोगों की जरूरत है तो कुछ को हायर करो, यदि कम लोगों की जरूरत है किसी की छटनी कर दो, थोड़े दिन के लिए ऑफ कर दो, ले ऑफ कर दो। तो दैट इज चेस। एंड हाइब्रिड इज वेर यू आर using both level as well as chase. It depends upon what is the situation, what is your demand like, whether it is fluctuating or it is steady. If it is steady, you go for level. If it is not steady, you go for chase, or you might go even for hybrid. For some things it might be chase, in something it might be level. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hmm.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask the difference between, like, we are studying right now aggregate and disaggregating. So, for example, aggregating involves like a bulk production,
प्रोडक्शन नहीं,
and
अभी क्या
disaggregate.
क्या तुम्हें बल्क में खरीदना है, ये तो प्लानिंग चल रहा है ना। जैसे हमने कहा
Yes,
ना
ma'am.
कि 1 महीने का राशन तुम्हें खरीदना है, उसी फ्लावर से तुम बहुत कुछ बना सकती हो, वो तो बाद में होगा। अभी तुम्हें 1 महीने के लिए होपफुली 5 kg ऑफ फ्लावर खरीदना है। आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, गिविंग यू एन एग्जांपल फ्रॉम आवर डेली लाइफ। अब उस दैट विल बी फॉर 1 month। This is also, you know, कि what is the consumption of your house, how many members are there in your house। तो इसे एक पास डेटा से तुम्हें पता है। अब ये मार्केट का चीज है, तो यू आल्सो हैव टू नो कि मार्केट का क्या रिएक्शन है, व्हाट विल बी दे डिमांडिंग। तो आपको दोनों को उसको मैप करना होगा, देन यू विल हैव टू सी। तो इन हाउस होल्ड इट इज मोस्टली चेस, मगर इन sorry, level, it is mostly level. But when it is in actual market, for many things it can be level, but in many things there will be chase, because things will be fluctuating। किसी सीजन में किसी चीज का डिमांड है, किसी सीजन में किसी चीज का डिमांड है। तो यू हैव टू कीप ऑन, you should be prepared for it। तो looking at the nature of your product, you have to go for either level or chase or hybrid।
Maybe some internet issue is there. Hmm.
क्या
Next. Have you, Sakshi, have you got your answer?
Yes, sir. Yes.
कोई कोई मतलब शाई मत करो, जो नहीं आ रहा है रोक के पूछो।
पूछो, इसीलिए
क्योंकि
तो मैं बैठी
कॉन्सेप्ट
हूँ।
नहीं होगा क्लियर तो फायदा नहीं, किताब पढ़ने नहीं आई हो तुम। अगर यही पढ़ना होता तो यू कैन गो फॉर एनी ऑफ द कॉलेज। फिर इंडस्ट्री के लोगों से क्यों आप बात करोगे? परी, तुम्हारा क्या हाल है? हैव यू गॉट ऑल द क्वेश्चन क्लियर?
Sir, I have a doubt about the hybrid strategy.
हाँ तो पूछो, कौन पूछेगा? मैं पूछूंगा आपके भी आप पे।
आई सेड ना कि कुछ चीजों, जैसे कुछ सामान ऐसा बना रहे
पहले
हो।
कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर कर दीजिए कि हाइब्रिड होता क्या है एक्चुअली, दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम।
हाइब्रिड में दोनों होता है। लेवल भी कुछ चीजों के लिए हमने लेवल लिया है एग्रीगेट में, और कुछ चीजों के लिए हमने चेस लिया है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अब देखो अब तो इलेक्ट्रिक लोकोमोटिव प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं लोग। तो इसमें क्या होगा कि कुछ चीज तो ऐसे है कि डीजल लोकोमोटिव हो या इलेक्ट्रिक लोकोमोटिव है, नट्स बोल्ट्स कुछ पार्ट्स ऐसे होंगे जो कॉमन होंगे। बट कुछ चीज शायद कल को उनके टेक्नोलॉजी में कुछ चेंज हो, कुछ नई चीजों की जरूरत हो, तो यू डोंट बाय इट इन बल्क। वो प्लानिंग में आप उसको बल्क में नहीं खरीदिए, ऐसा करिए कि यदि चेंज हो तो आप कैसे उसको उस समय चेंज कर सकते हैं। तो यह यू
Okay.
यूज बोथ द प्लानिंग, बोथ लेवल एज वेल एज सॉरी चेस।
देखो, लेबल सिंपल समझो कि जब किसी चीज का घर में स्टैकिंग करते हो ना, लेबल बढ़ाते चले जाते हो, तो वो क्या होगा, बल्क में एक साथ आया, बोरी का बोरी लेबल बढ़ता चला गया, समझो ऐसे। लेकिन अगर चेंज किसका करते हो, चेंज हमेशा टारगेट का होता है। चेंज हमेशा किसी एक पर्टिकुलर चीज का होगा, राइट। लेबल तो सबका बढ़ गया, सबका एक के ऊपर एक रखा गया तो सब एक साथ हो गए, तो उस समय क्या बोलोगे कि सब एक साथ इकट्ठे लेबल बढ़ गया है। बट चेंज करना है तो उसमें से एक बोरी, पीली बोरी निकालोगे, नीली बोरी निकालोगे। तो जहां पर्टिकुलर, कोई पर्टिकुलर टारगेट है आपका, कोई पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट है आपका, कोई पर्टिकुलर सर्विसेज है आपकी, दैट विल कम अंडर चेंज। एम आई क्लियर? मैं ठीक बोल रहा हूँ मैम?
हाँ, जैसे हमारा फूड हैबिट ही देखिए। जैसे हम लोग जो छोटे थे तो ज्यादातर एक ही तरह के सामान बनते थे, तो हमारा लेवल प्लानिंग होता होगा महीने भर का, जो भी राशन आता होगा। बट नाउ द फूड हैबिट हैज चेंज। आज बच्चे कुछ डिमांड कर रहे हैं, कल कुछ डिमांड कर रहे हैं, तो आपको उस तरह से रखना होगा सामान। इट विल बी चेस, यू आर चेसिंग दैट। उस सबका आपको हिसाब रखना होगा। अब महीने में हो सकता है एक दो दिन वो नूडल्स मांग रहे होंगे, कभी पास्ता मांग रहे होंगे, कभी बर्गर मांग रहे होंगे। सबके लिए एक तरह का सामान तो नहीं चाहिए। अब रोटी पराठा नान वगैरह तो सब कुछ करीब करीब फ्लावर से बन जाता है। तो इवन इन इंडस्ट्री दैट इज देयर। If you are in fashion industry, things are changing very fast. Color is changing. To you, or for example, during certain season, demand for certain goods, जैसे मैरिज सीजन है हमारे यहाँ, तो कुछ डिमांड बढ़ जाएंगे, तो नेचुरली यू नीड एक्स्ट्रा वर्कफोर्स टू फुलफिल दैट डिमांड। तो यू हैव टू कीप योर प्लानिंग इन दैट वे कि हाँ, जब जरूरत होगी तो यू हैव दिस वर्कफोर्स which might
जैसे
be
जब
engaged
जब
somewhere
आप
or
देखो कि
but
कोई
at that time
सीजनल,
you should engage them.
या जैसे
It
सीजनल
is not
फैक्टर जब
level,
आते हैं।
एक लेवल पर नहीं जा रहे हैं।
हाँ,
You are
जैसे
chasing according to the demand.
नेक्स्ट, या स्मृति।
ठीक है।
Yes, ma'am. Aggregate plan to master schedule. Aggregate planning, disaggregating master schedule.
तो ये हमारा क्रम चलता है, एग्रीगेट, then disaggregating and then master schedule. As I said, aggregate when you buy the things in bulk for a पर्टिकुलर पीरियड। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बल्क में एक साल के 2 साल का सामान खरीद लीजिए। For any, when you see कि हाँ, the demand of certain things will be so much during this period, you make a forecast, study the data, previous data, make a good thorough study of the market, and you make a plan, a forecast कि what will be the demand. As I told you, aggregate planning में first thing was demand. डिमांड कितना होगा उसके हिसाब से आपको क्या क्या सामान चाहिए बल्क में। अब उससे आप क्या क्या और बना सकते हैं, दैट इज डिसएग्रीगेटिंग। देन फिर किस दिन क्या करना है, एक मास्टर शेड्यूल करेंगे। जैसे मान लीजिए आप रोटी बना रहे हैं, तो पहला चीज करेंगे, आटा को आप गूंदेंगे। ये तो नहीं है कि बस आटा को लिया रोटी बन गया, ऐसा तो नहीं होगा। तो दैट इज मास्टर शेड्यूलिंग। First thing you'll do is you'll knead the dough, then you roll the roti, then you'll make the roti. तो दैट इज यस मास्टर शेड्यूलिंग। क्या करना है पहले, क्या करना है बाद में, जो रूटीन शेड्यूलिंग हम लोग पढ़ते हैं। इवन आवर डेली लाइफ वी डू दैट। कि यही है कि उतना हम लोग उसको डीपली सोचते ही नहीं है, मगर करते तो वही है ना, बल्क में लेते हैं। ऐसा तो नहीं है कि फॉर एवरी डे यू बाई फ्लावर, ऐसा तो नहीं है। यू नो, हाँ, ये इस मंथ के लिए इतने, what is our requirement according of my family size, according the guests who come to my house, जो भी है। हमें अपने फैमिली के लिए तो एक फोरकास्ट करते हैं कि नहीं, कि इस महीने में इतने, what will be my demand, and accordingly we buy the products। और वहां से फिर डिसएग्रीगेट करते हैं, then we do master scheduling।
राइट, या स्मृति।
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
because this
Master
is something
production.
which each one of us is acquainted with. ठीक है, अभी आप ऑपरेशंस जहां हो रहे हैं, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो रहे नहीं गई हैं, बट बात तो वही है ना. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू टेक अ यूनिसेल्युलर एनिमल, जैसे अमीबा पैरामीशियम हुआ, you take a multicellular animal like a human being or a big any animal, एलिफेंट हो, कुछ भी हो जो मल्टी सेलुलर, बेसिक तो वही है. वही खाना खाना है, रेस्पिरेटरी है, रिप्रोडक्शन है, जो 5 जो बेसिक फंक्शंस है तो वही है. अमीबा में भी वही है और मल्टी सेलुलर एनिमल में भी वही है. तो उसी तरह है कि जो हम घर में भी काम कर रहे हैं उसमें भी यही यही काम हो रहे हैं. ये है कि कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बढ़ गया है, इसीलिए बेटर इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम इज वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड. वो उस काम को करने, it helps us in doing that work because the complexity has increased. Suppose if you are a welder, आप एक वेंडर है, सब आप मैनेज कर रहे हैं, आप फाइनेंस भी देख रहे हैं, आप मार्केटिंग भी देख रहे हैं, आप प्रोडक्शन भी देख रहे हैं, आप एचआर भी हैं उसी के. You are only selling it, you are buying things, you are looking after the monetary effect, मगर काम तो वही है ना. 4 कोई बड़े ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जाइए, वहां भी वही है. यू आर प्रोड्यूसिंग, यू आर फाइनेंसिंग, एचआर. यही है कि इट इज मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स, बहुत लोग इंटर कनेक्टेड हैं, एक से नहीं हो रहा है. तो नेचुरली देयर हैज टू बी अ वेरी क्लियर कट or a very functional relationship among all the things which are working together for whatever work they are doing, whether they are producing something or you are making producing goods or services. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
बेसिक वही है. नेक्स्ट.
Master production scheduling, MPS. The master production scheduling is a comprehensive plan outlining the production quantities, timing, and specific products to be manufactured. It is an essential process that bridges the gap between production planning and execution, enabling the company to fulfill customer demand efficiently. The MPS is a popular production planning tool that ultimately aims to enhance operational efficiency, save time, and provide a foundation for scaling a manufacturing activity. It is not a scheduling but a planning process, since it proactively determines the products to be manufactured and the raw material or other resources that will be required for the potential production.
So over here now we are finally going to execute whatever we have bought it, whatever we have planned. तो किस तरह से करेंगे? ईच एंड एवरी एक्टिविटी हैज टू बी शेड्यूल्ड कि पहले ये करेंगे, उसके बाद ये करेंगे, उसके बाद ये करेंगे. Nothing will be done in one go. Any work you are doing, there are number of activities involved in it. So you have to schedule those activities. So here you do the master schedule, production scheduling. Which activity you will do first, then which activities you do, what all resources you had already taken care of that in your aggregate planning, and now how we will be using it, when you will be using it. ये तो नहीं है कि जितना मटेरियल खरीदे वो एक साथ एक ही बार में यूज हो जाएगा. तो हियर इट इज द प्लानिंग ऑफ हाउ यू विल बी डूइंग इट. पूरा ऑपरेशन का प्लानिंग करना पड़ता है. जैसे आई टोल्ड यू, इफ यू आर मेकिंग रोटी, देयर इज अ फिक्स शेड्यूल. ये तो नहीं है, या यू आर मेकिंग अ हाउस, तो फर्स्ट तो यू हैव टू मेक द फाउंडेशन. कुछ बातें इधर उधर हो सकती हैं, बट एक जो लॉजिक है वो तो यू हैव टू फॉलो. यू कैन नॉट मेक द रूफ बिफोर यू मेक द फाउंडेशन. ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता है. तो यू हैव टू सी कि पहले फाउंडेशन है, फाउंडेशन में कितना समय लगेगा. वंस द फाउंडेशन इज मेड, देन व्हाट विल यू डू? यू विल मेक द वॉल्स अलोंग विद यू, मेक द, उसी में आप विंडोज डोर्स बना रहे हैं तो उसी समय आप you are putting the wooden things also over there, or you first you make the superstructure and then you put the wooden fittings. So that can change, but the planning should be, will follow a definite logic, and that everyone has to follow. बीच में इधर उधर चेंजेस हो सकते हैं. but the logic will, तो मास्टर शेड्यूलिंग में जैसे करे कोई कोई का हाउस प्लानर्स हो सकते हैं, एक साथ सारा सुपर स्ट्रक्चर बना दिया, फिर उसके बाद फिटिंग्स करना शुरू करें। कोई होगा जब काम चल रहा है, डोर्स एंड विंडोज भी बन रहे हैं, प्लस अदर फिटिंग्स भी हो रहे हैं साथ ही साथ, तो दैट इज अनदर थिंग। बट द लॉजिक, बट एवरीवन हैज टू प्लान कि किस काम को कैसे करना और कब करना है, इससे वेस्टेज कम हो और जो भी काम हो रहा है बहुत अच्छा हो, एंड व्हाट रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस आर बीइंग फॉलोड। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल फॉर बिल्डिंग आल्सो देयर आर सर्टेन रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस which they have to follow। नहीं तो क्या हो, जब 2008 में वहाँ हैदराबाद सॉरी गुजरात में भूकंप आया था, अर्थक्वेक आया था, तो न्यू बिल्डिंग्स हैड फॉलन एंड द ओल्ड बिल्डिंग्स वर इंटैक्ट because they had followed the guidelines. New people had not followed the guidelines, and that is why they were affected by earthquake. So there's some logic behind whatever is being taught to you. You have to follow that because it is not for one day, it is for a longer period. So you have to see to it that tomorrow something happens, then it is intact. How will I overcome it? What should I do to rectify it? So that is why it is very necessary to do the planning very, very meticulously, so that later on you will be feeling, I'm not saying you will not be facing any problem, but it should be minimum. Yes, next. This is a diagram.
Master
This is a
production
diagram which tells you what three things. Next, ये diagram निकालो.
Master production schedule, production planning tool that determines what to produce, when to produce, in what quantity to produce.
So for example, what to produce. As I told you, we are making roti. That is your that kitchen is a what? A manufacturing unit, isn't it? So you are making roti. So what to produce? Roti. Okay. When to produce? तो नहीं है कि you are going to have your dinner at night and you make the rotis early in the morning. एक optimum time होता है. Then in what quantity to produce? What is the requirement of your family? Accordingly you will produce. तो तुम्हारे client कौन है, उनके क्या requirement है, वो कब चाहते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा भी स्टोर करके क्या होता है, holding cost increases. इससे your overall cost of the product increases. So you have to be very careful with it. Inventory management is, that is why it's so important. Na stock out ho, na under stock ho. Is it clear now? Mastership production schedule.
Yes,
Next.
Materials requirement planning, MRP1. Material requirement planning is a software-based integrated inventory and supply management system designed for businesses. Companies use MRP to estimate quantities of raw materials, maintain inventory levels, and schedule production and deliveries. MRP helps businesses and manufacturers define what is needed, how much is needed, and when materials are needed, and works backward from a production plan for finished goods.
So
MRP converts a plan in
yes, continue.
MRP converts a plan into a list of requirements for the sub-assemblies, parts, and raw materials needed to produce a final product within the established schedule. MRP helps manufacturers get a grasp of inventory requirements while balancing both supply and demand.
So here what you do, जो हम अभी तक manually कर रहे थे, now we have computerized it. So it tells you material requirement planning is a software based. That is, now we are using computers. इंटीग्रेटेड इन्वेंट्री एंड सप्लाई मैनेजमेंट, क्योंकि इन्वेंट्री से आपको मैनेज करना है ताकि यू यू डोंट आर शॉर्ट ऑफ मटेरियल और नॉट ओवरफ्लोड विद मटेरियल. तो दिस हेल्प्स यू इन मैनेजिंग इन्वेंट्री. इस inventory will tell you how well your whole supply chain is managed. Companies use MRP to this is MRP1, to estimate quantities of raw materials, maintain inventory levels and schedule production and deliveries. जो भी काम था, जो अभी तक हम मैनुअली कर रहे थे, now we are using computers to do that, taking the help of. It is not they are doing it, we are feeding the data, but they'll, with mathematical precision, they'll calculate and tell us कि according to whatever situation you are going through, what should be your inventory, what should be your what price should you take. Everything helps you in determining this particular requirement of any operation. MRP helps businesses and manufacturers define what is needed, how much is needed, and when materials are needed, and works backward from a production plan for finished good. तो production plan तो आपने बनाया, तो अब तो ऐसा है कि there are software which will help you in making the plan also. So you, from there, you, it estimates for you what you need, how much you need, when you need, at what price you need, what is the optimum price, and things like that. So this is a computer-based software which helps you in your material requirement. What material you require, how much you require, what should be the quality, what should be the price, and things like that. MRP converts a plan into a list of requirements for the sub-assemblies, parts, and raw materials needed to produce a final product within the established schedule. MRP helps manufacturers get a grasp of inventory requirements while balancing both supply and demand. So, the question over here, how you will manage this supply and demand? What will be the demand and how much you should keep for it? What you should produce? So, because it is a computer-based system, it is helping you in doing that. It is calculation भी fast होगा, number of data they can handle will be also huge, जो manually is just not possible.
मैम थोड़ा सा अपना कैमरा आप सेट कर लें, कैमरा इधर हो गया है, मतलब हाँ फेस ठीक है.
Next.
Using MRP, managers can determine their need for labor and supplies and improve their production efficiency by inputting data into the MRP scheme such as item name or nomenclature, the finished good title, sometimes called level 0 on BOM, master production schedule
BOM
MP.
is bill of material. क्या क्या चाहिए मटेरियल जो है उसका क्या एक लिस्ट बनेगा ना, तो दैट इज नोन एज बिल ऑफ मटेरियल और BOM.
Master Production Schedule (MPS). How much is required to meet demand? When is it needed? Shelf life of stored materials. Inventory status file (ISF). Materials available that are in stock and materials on order from suppliers. Bills of materials (BOM). Details of materials and components required to make each product. Planning data. Restraints and directions like routing, labor and machine standards, quality and testing standards, and lot sizing techniques.
तो ये सारे डेटा हम जब डाल देते हैं तो मशीन विल टेक केयर ऑफ सो मेनी थिंग्स. क्या हमें चाहिए, कब चाहिए, जो हम बैठ के खुद अपने आप बनाते थे पहले, नाउ this software is helping us to achieve that in a much more efficient way, क्योंकि उसमें human error कम होगा, the amount of data which they can handle is much more. So it becomes main. तो computerization का first two thing is capacity and data, speed and capacity, speed and capacity. तो क्या है, capacity data हुआ. Every time you see कि even a very, like for example, even a today's mobile is carrying more data than your previous year laptop. और जो पहले शुरू हुआ था फर्स्ट जनरेशन, तो a whole room was required to keep the computer system. अब वही काम एक छोटा सा मोबाइल भी कर दे रहा है. तो in these two fields, especially capacity and data, things have improved drastically. And even now, it is almost taking the decision for us. For example, when I had started teaching MIS, so at that time, it was about 45 years back, there was a scientist, Alan Turing. He had said, कि if suppose you are conversing with a computer, which is in next room, you don't know whether you are conversing with a man or a computer. But even after 1 hour, you are not able to make out. Then that means the machine has become intelligent. Today, that period has come. When you are interacting with any of the AIs, whether Grok or Perplexity or anything, the way they reply, cannot, it is very difficult to imagine that you are talking to a machine, not a human being. So, almost. Only thing is now they are not reproducing. They are producing but not reproducing. Over there, I don't know whether we'll be able to will be able to reach that level or not. I don't know. Nobody can tell you for 100% what will happen in the future. Okay, next.
To summarize, one can say material requirements planning is the earliest computer-based inventory management system. MRP-1 helps develop a production plan for finished goods by defining inventory requirements for components and raw materials. MRP-1 assures that materials and components will be available when needed, minimizes inventory levels, reduces customer lead times, and improves customer satisfaction. MRP-1 relies on data accuracy, has a high cost to implement, and maintains a strict production schedule.
So over here, naturally, everything will depend upon what you are feeding in. Data. उसी data पर तो decision ले रहा है. If you put, it is said कि if garbage in, garbage out. So for there, human intervention is very necessary. Whatever you are putting in should be correct. Then only correct decisions will be taken and correct results will be given to you. Like for example, there are two types of error. One is your logical error. Suppose if I write, instead of A into B, I write A plus B. The computer will not understand. That is a logical error. If you want something to be added or something to be subtracted or something to be multiplied, you should clearly write it, and so that it will do exactly what is required to be done. जैसा हो सकता है ना कि if I tell my servant कि if you go to the market and buy tomatoes, if it is between say 20 rupees to 30 rupees, something like that. But suppose the very good tomato is available at 31 rupees. If it is a computer, if I write x is less than equal to 30 or more than equal to 20, then only. So it will not take decision if it is 31. But if it is a human being, that person will use his or her intelligence also. कि this is very good quality, चलो कोई बात नहीं है, ₹1 ज़्यादा भी है तो I'll buy it. Maybe the servant knows it will be used in some guests are coming, some special guests are coming, and it will be used there. So even if it is one, so but now with artificial intelligence, we are it has not taken up the human decisive power, but at least it has come very close to it. Yes, next.
Input BOM
This is a
orders.
diagram.
Yes, sir. BOM orders, forecast, inventory, master production schedule, in material requirement planning, output, purchase orders, material plan, work orders, reports.
So you have orders, क्या क्या ऑर्डर मिला है, प्लस यू डू अ फोरकास्ट. ये दोनों को मिला के यू मेक अ मास्टर प्रोडक्शन शेड्यूल. द इनपुट क्या क्या है, ऑर्डर्स है, फोरकास्ट है, मास्टर शेड्यूल तुमने बनाया. देन बिल ऑफ मटेरियल, क्या क्या चीजों की जरूरत है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास इन्वेंट्री, the material requirement planning is done, and then you get from here what all our output you get: purchase order, मटेरियल प्लान, वर्क ऑर्डर्स, क्या पे काम करना है, क्या चीज खरीदा जाएगा, what all reports you have to generate, because you are not working in isolation. You have to give certain reports to your seniors, certain reports to the general public also. So this is the total outlay of a material required planning, MRP 1. Is it clear? Next.
Advantages of MRP1. The advantages include maintains low inventory level, reduction of associated costs through material planning, ensure capacity utilization, extensively tracks every piece of inventory that comes in and goes out, reduces cost of warehousing product, increased organization throughout the business, scheduled shipment and delivery of the product.
So these are the advantages. Inventory level आपका कम हो जाता है because it exactly knows कि how how much to keep, so that both stock out and uh, your opportunity cost is minimized. Capacity जो भी है आपका, how it has to be maximum utilization has to be there. So all these things which we were doing manually now is being done by the computer, and it takes decision faster because the calculating power of a machine is much more than a human being. I'm not saying it has replaced, but it has become a very good helpmate to the human being. So for example, first we used to write by hand. अब उसमें कुछ गलती हो गया तो काट दी है. अब मान लीजिए ऐसा जगह सबमिट करना है जहाँ कटवट नहीं जरूरत है, तो फिर से हमें रीराइट करना पड़ता था. अभी तो बहुत आसान हो गया है. You have to insert something, you can insert. You can delete something, you can delete. You same thing you have to repeat. That is also just one command, one action. So similarly in other field also, computerization is helping us. जैसे it is पहले ये फ्रेगमेंटेड था, सारे जो अलग अलग थे, अब इसको इंटीग्रेट कर दिया है. MRP1 से MRP2 एंड MRP2 से ERP, एंटरप्राइज रिसोर्स प्लानिंग. नेक्स्ट.
Weaknesses of MRP1. The disadvantages when using a material requirement planning inventory system include reliance on the precise input information. There are scheduling delays, wrong order quantities, and inefficient tracking if the information is inputted inaccurately within the system. Requires extensive maintenance of robust databases. In order to use the system, proper training is required. The system is not cheap and requires a substantial capital investment.
So these are all capital investment का. ठीक है, it helps you a lot, but initially the amount of money which you are going to invest is huge. Next.
Capacity Requirements Planning (CRP). Capacity Requirement Planning (CRP) is the process of discerning a firm's available production capacity and whether it can meet its production goals. The CRP method first assesses the company's planned manufacturing schedule. Then Capacity Requirements Planning weighs this schedule against the company's actual production capabilities to see if the current capacity can successfully meet the existing production schedule. Capacity requirement planning is the process through which a company, primarily in manufacturing, figures out how much product it needs to make and determines if it has the ability to meet its production goals. One can also understand CRP as a management tool that's based on using a company's resources efficiently by projecting its production expectations accurately. If a company finds that its production capacity is inadequate, it may alter its production goals or take other steps to bring expectations in line with the capacity, which could include contracting with another firm that has excess capacity to handle its production.
So here, what is your capacity and what is your demand? Whether you are able to, existing hai, whether they'll be able to fulfill the demand which is in the market, and if not, what corrective measures they can take by either subcontracting or increasing your production capacity. Yes, continue.
One can summarize capacity requirement planning is the process of discerning a firm's production capacity and whether it can meet its production goals. Conducting a CRP analysis is a critical management tool as it helps a company to know if it can meet the demand for its product. Capacity requirements planning is also the name of an enterprise application software that manages the CRP process for a company.
So this is also a computer based uh, system. It's a software which helps you in maximum utilization of your capacity. Next.
Why does CRP matter? A large part of a company's success is in planning for the future. Without a solid plan, a business owner may risk encountering unforeseen issues, including those that can affect its bottom line. Capacity requirements planning has both long and short-term implications for a firm's success. In the short term, monthly and quarterly sales numbers are heavily affected by whether the company is prepared for the regular ups and downs of customer demand. Not being able to meet customer demand can often mean losing customers to the competition. In the long term, CRP can help determine capacity cost and decide how much a company will invest in its employees, materials, and equipment.
So because it both short term में तो ये होगा कि you lose your customers if you are not able to fulfill the demand, they'll go to your competitors, and long term में ये होगा कि you can decide कि क्या कमियां हैं तुम में, whether in material or man or, so you can invest and improve upon it.
Distribution Resource Planning (DRP). Supply chain management is a complex process that involves coordinating the purchasing of materials, scheduling of operations, logistics, and planning of resource capacities. With the many aspects involved in supply chain planning, the distribution of materials is considered a vital component of production. DRP is the process of determining the right quality of finished goods to be sent to each distribution center or warehouse in order to meet customer demand. During DRP, customer and forecasted demand are translated into purchase orders. This process depends on actual demand signals such as customer orders, as those orders are used to plan the gross requirements of the supply source. One of the biggest challenges during DRP is caused by the high levels of demand variability. As demand can vary, how can manufacturing operations properly plan for the quantity of finished goods that are required on site and positioned to the correct location? In addition, how can these goods arrive at the correct facility in the time frame required in the most efficient manner?
I think it is quite clear. Yes, next.
There are there are many questions that supply chain and project managers must ask themselves when it comes to optimizing flow, minimizing shortages, reducing transportation costs, reducing orders, and timing delivery. The outputs of DRP can help supply chain managers answer questions such as which products will we need, what quantity of each product will we need, where are those finished goods needed, what quantity do we have on hand, and how much do we need to produce. The goal of DRP is to ensure that the right quantity of goods are produced in the manufacturing facilities and sent to various warehouses to fulfill customer orders.
So it is distribution. How well you are distributing. Maybe you are manufacturing, but you are not distributing it properly. It is not reaching your customers. So it is of no use. Yes,
Ma'am,
next.
I have a question.
Yes, ask me.
Ma'am, like what is the relation between CRP and DRP? Ma'am, capacity and distribution.
तो कैपेसिटी तो है, आप उतना बना सकते हैं कि नहीं, और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है उसको राइट जगह पर पहुंचा सकते हैं कि नहीं। बना तो लिया पर वो पहुंचा नहीं मार्केट में समय पे, तो क्या फायदा है? कैपेसिटी तो है आपके पास, समझ गए?
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
चलो।
DRP is a method used in supply chain management to optimize the distribution of goods. It ensures that the right amount of products is available at the right place and time to meet customer demand. Here are some key aspects of DRP. Inventory management. DRP helps in maintaining optimal inventory levels by forecasting demand and planning replenishment. Cost reduction. By optimizing the distribution process, DRP reduces costs associated with ordering, transporting, and holding inventory.
So these are the two things. It is how it is distributing the actually finished goods so that it reaches the customer, the final customer, at right time, at right cost, at right quality. And capacity was how you are manufacturing, whether you have the capacity to manufacturing the amount which is being demanded by the customer. क्योंकि these are the different links ना, पहले तो you are buying them, we are talking about the whole supply chain. केवल बना देने से नहीं होगा, केवल तो it has to be all the links have to work together, from uh, sourcing the raw material, then manufacturing it, then distributing it to the warehouse, from the warehouse distributing it to retails, and from retail it finally goes to customer. And if the customer does not like it, if it has certain lacuna, then it should have this facility to return it to the manufacturer, and whatever is the lacuna has to be rectified. Chalo, next chalo.
Improved customer service. DRP aims to improve customer service levels by ensuring products are available when and where they are needed. Integration with supply chain. DRP integrates with other supply chain processes like production scheduling and material requirements planning to ensure a smooth flow of goods.
I think this is clear. We are talking about the whole supply chain, right from the source to the customer. Now we have second, MRP2.
Manufacturing Resources Planning (MRP2) is an integrated information system used by businesses. It evolved from earlier materials requirement planning one systems by including the integration of additional data such as employee and financial needs. The system is designed to centralize, integrate, and process information for effective decision-making in scheduling, design, engineering, inventory management, and cost control in manufacturing. In addition to offering master production scheduling, bill of materials, and inventory tracking, MRP2 provides functionality within logistics, marketing, and general finance.
This is one step above your MRP1, where we were only concerned with the manufacturing, but here we are from where to get the money to do the manufacturing, what type of people you want for the all these functional areas are also integrated with it, because it is a total approach which is going to determine whether you have reached your goal or not. Second, next, this is MRP2 module. So here finance, marketing, market demand से प्रोडक्शन प्लान बना, वहां से एक रफ कैपेसिटी प्लानिंग बना, क्या जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं या नहीं हैं, क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, you have to see to it. Then if it is there is certain, yes, there are problems, then it has to be adjusted production planning. If it is no, then requirement scheduling has to be done. So you have finance, marketing, market demand, manufacturing, all these are inputs. For output क्या होगा? Master production schedule, MRP1 है वो. Capacity planning, problems, adjusted master, if there are some problems, yes, there is a problem. यदि नहीं है तो required schedule पर जाओ, नहीं है तो you have to adjust to it. So this is my MRP 2, which is one step ahead of MRP 1, where it was only focusing on manufacturing. Here it is also focusing on other functional areas which will be helping them in doing the manufacturing. Now we come to enterprise resource planning. Next.
ERP is a platform companies use to manage and integrate the essential parts of their businesses. Many ERP software applications are critical to companies because they help them implement resource planning by integrating all the processes needed to run the companies with a single system. An ERP software system can also integrate planning, purchasing, inventory, sales, marketing, finance, human resources, and more.
So now it is total integration. All the processes, all the four functional areas are integrated together, because without their integration, the result which we want will not be possible. So it is from vision to integration, from your aggregate planning to ERP. And now better IT tools are being used to enhance the possibilities of ERP. Yes, continue.
One can safely conclude that key takeaway of ERP are: ERP software can integrate all of the processes needed to run a company. ERP solutions have evolved over the years, and many are now typically web-based applications that users can access remotely. Some benefits of ERP include the free flow of communication between business areas, a single source of information, and accurate real-time data reporting. There are hundreds of ERP applications a company can choose from, and most can be customized. An ERP system can be ineffective if a company doesn't implement it carefully.
The implementation is also very, because it requires special knowledge to implement. There are so many modules, like uh, we can say the 4 modules. In that also there will be sub modules. So how do you implement them? And it is in modular form, so that you don't have to go implement all the modules in one go. First implement one. If it is working perfectly, and you have gained good understanding of the whole system, then you can introduce another one, and so on and so forth. So that is why it is made in a modular form, not in one. It can have all the modules, but it does not mean that the implementation of all the modules should be in one go. Yes, types
Types
of
of
ERP.
Types of ERP systems. There's a number of different ERP solutions that can meet a variety of business needs. This list is not meant to list every single type of ERP, though the list is pretty comprehensive. Any business considering implementing an ERP system should be able to find value in some of these types of systems, and multiple systems may be relevant in any given situation. On-premise ERP. On-premises ERP systems involve purchasing the software licenses and installing the ERP system directly onto a company's own servers. Companies have full control over the system and data as it resides within their premises. Customization and integration with existing systems can be more extensive, and this type of ERP usually requires dedicated IT resources for maintenance, updates, and security.
So here you buy the ERP system and implement it in your organization yourself, and it integrates with whatever existing systems you had. For example, at BHU, we have a ERP system, but it is managed by uh, some company from South India. I don't remember the name just now. It is Amrita, I think, Amrita Technology. So we don't have the BHU people don't have the full control, but in on-premise ERP, they have the full control. But then they don't have the technical knowledge. Maybe they don't have the technical knowledge, so they have employed someone else to work to operate the system for them. Then you have cloud ERP. So it depends upon
Cloud ERP
management, what decisions they take, whether they want a on-premise or they want some relevant company to operate the system. So it depends upon the management. It is a management issue, top management issue, in fact. Then cloud ERP.
Cloud ERP systems are hosted on remote servers and accessed through the internet. Cloud ERPs like SaaS products offer better scalability, allowing businesses to easily adjust resources and features as needed without significant upfront investment in hardware. Cloud ERP systems typically have a subscription-based pricing model, and updates maintenances are managed by the ERP provider, not the company itself.
So you can have ERP which is in the ERP is in cloud. You can access it. Like for example, when you are using internet, what is this? The data is in cloud. It is not with us, but we can access it. So it depends upon what the management is feels comfortable with, what it can afford, things like that. So many factors affects the decision taken by the top management.
Industry-specific ERP. Industry-specific ERP systems are tailored to meet the unique needs and requirements of particular industries. These systems often include industry-specific modules, functionalities, and best practices to address the complexities of the industry. For example, consider a manufacturing firm that is heavily reliant on inventory, supply chain management, and distribution of goods. That type of ERP will be vastly different than a client-based ERP such as a financial institution's ERP.
So ERP can be of different types. It will depend on what is the nature of the industry. Some are like in manufacturing, they are more dependent on inventory, supply chain management because it distribution. Because but if it is a financial institution, their requirement is different. So their ERP will be different. They don't
Oh,
whatever information they have to give, they can give directly to their customers. They don't have to send it to the warehouse, then the retailer, then the customers.
open source ERP.
सॉरी
An
सॉरी
open
ये तो हो गया है. ओपन सोर्स. कंटिन्यू.
An open source ERP system or any open source software for that matter provides users with access to the source code. This means a company can customize, modify, or redistribute the ERP to better meet the company's needs. Implementing and maintaining open source ERP systems may require more technical expertise and resources compared to commercial ERP solutions.
So as an open source ERP, these are the different types of which it what is the source code, they can have access to that, but then for that they should have the technical knowledge upon. So it depends upon the company or organization which is implementing the ERP, whether they want to they have the technical expertise or not.
Small business ERP. On the other hand, small business ERP systems are designed specifically for the needs of small and medium-sized businesses (SMBs). These type of ERP systems try to offer balance between being slightly niche while offering essential functionalities of a more affordable price point. Because they are less robust, small businesses' ERP solutions are often easier to implement and require less customization compared to the enterprise-level ERP systems.
So these are made for small businesses. Their requirement can be for certain things, it can be specific, and for other things it can be general. So it depend, and it is less costlier. So they instead of going for a bigger ERP, they can focus on ERP which is suitable for their organization. क्योंकि वहां थोड़ा कॉन्स्टेंट हो जाता है, स्पेशली फाइनेंशियल कॉन्स्टेंट्स.
Tiered ERP. Tiered ERP systems offer different levels of functionality and scalability to cater to businesses of varying sizes and complexities. Companies can choose the tier that best matches their current needs and budget, with the option to upgrade or customize as their requirements evolve. This would entail adding on modules as they become relevant. That is, a company that is scaling to international operations may wait to implement foreign current modules.
So here you can have different tiers, whatever you require, or you require maybe in future you require something else, to you can scale up, and then so that also whatever is your future requirement is also taken care of. Not, as I told you, we can have modular, and the modular can also be tiered. Benefits of ERP. Next.
Benefits of ERP. Businesses employ enterprise resource planning for various reasons such as expanding, reducing costs, and improving operations. The benefits sought and realized between companies may differ, however, some are worth noting. Improves accuracy and productivity. Integrating and automating businesses' processes eliminates redundancies and improves accuracy and productivity. In addition, departments with interconnected processes can synchronize work to achieve faster and better outcomes.
So naturally, the human error is minimized, productivity is increased, so it improves accuracy. Huh, that is there. Data which has been added should be accurate and should be real. अब ऐसा नहीं है, अब जैसे अभी AI कॉन्फ्रेंस में you bring some robo from China and say you have manufactured it. So you that is where the human element is always present. It is how you handle the situation, how you how honest you are with your in handling the situation, in putting the data. For example, uh, suppose you are getting uh, data from remote area that everything is fine, so your decision will depend upon that. But suppose something is wrong and they are not reporting it, then naturally the decisions which the management will take will be wrong. So the accuracy of the data, the reliability of the data is very important, because the final decision depends upon it. All this will come only if the raw material, over here it is data, that is accurate, and it is telling you the giving you the good real picture of the situation. Yes.
Improves reporting. Some businesses benefit from enhanced real-time data reporting from a single source system. Accurate and complete reporting help companies adequately plan, budget, forecast, and communicate the state of operations to the organization and interested parties such as shareholders.
Because shareholders will will rely on the data which they have received. If that data is not correct, then naturally whatever decision they take will be wrong. Yes. Next.
Increases efficiency. ERPs allow businesses to quickly access needed information for clients, vendors, and business partners. This contributes to improved customer and employee satisfaction, quicker response rates, and increased accuracy rates. In addition, associated costs often decrease as the company operates more
More efficient.
efficiently.
तो ये है कि assumption, जो basic assumption है, that the data should be correct. तभी you efficiency will increase, reporting will be better.
Increases collaboration. Departments are better able to collaborate and share knowledge. A newly synergized workforce can improve productivity and employee satisfaction as employees are better able to see how each functional group contributes to the mission and vision of the company. Also, menial and manual tasks are eliminated, allowing employees to allocate their time to more meaningful work.
तो collaboration, because it is integrated. अब आप whether you are in finance, whether you are in HR, मगर whatever is going on in your organization, you will be well aware of it.
Weaknesses of ERP. An ERP system doesn't always eliminate inefficiencies within a business or improve everything. The company might need to rethink how it's organized or risk ending up with the incompatible technology. ERP systems usually fail to achieve the objectives that influence their installation because of a company's reluctance to abandon old working processes. Some companies may also be reluctant to let go of old software that worked well in the past. The key is to prevent ERP projects from being split into smaller projects, which can result in cost overruns.
So once you have thought of installing a ERP, then you have to see कि all these things, all the functional areas, how they are integrated. अब ये नहीं कि ठीक है बाद में even if they were isolated, uh, they were working well, but maybe when they are integrated, they might be not doing this work that efficiently. So you have to see to it कि it is well integrated, all the modules are working together and working for the benefit of the company. So it is how you handle it. Everything has its weaknesses. It is not that no, nothing is 100% proof. It will always be working well. It is how we handle it. Final decision is with the human being. Till date, I don't know what will happen in the future. I don't know, but till date, it is that the way we handle it. People are misusing technology a lot. You go to YouTube, you'll see somebody has created Durga ji, somebody has created Hanuman ji, and I don't know what not. And they have all sorts of messages are being conveyed to the vulnerable group of students.
Loading, sequencing, routing, scheduling, dispatching, expediting, and line balancing. These terms are key components of production planning and control (PPC), which is essential for efficient manufacturing processes. Here's a brief overview of each. Loading: assigning work to machines or work centers based on their capacity. Sequencing: determining the order in which jobs should be processed to optimize efficiency. Routing: establishing the path that materials and products follow through the production process. Scheduling: planning when and where each operation will be performed to ensure timely completion.
So if you want your production planning and controls to work optimally, you have to follow these things. Loading, sequencing, it has been explained, routing, scheduling. If you do this properly, then you can expect a good return from your production planning and control system. Yes, next.
Dispatching: issuing orders for production to start based on schedule. Expediting: monitoring and speeding up the
Expedite.
production process. Expediting: monitoring and speeding up the production process to avoid delays. Line balancing: distributing work evenly across all workstations to minimize idle time and bottlenecks. These elements work together to ensure smooth and efficient production operations.
So line balancing, that is, things are balanced. It is not okay, one part is overloaded, another part is sitting idle. Expediting, that is speeding up so that your system is more efficient, and whatever you're doing in the right way, and things are reaching the ultimate customer at the time they require it, at the price they require it, at the quality they require it. Next.
Cycle time management (CTM). Cycle time is the time required to complete a full cycle of a process from start to finish. It's a metric used to measure efficiency and productivity, allowing identification of bottlenecks, delays, and improvement opportunities in a process. Cycle time is not a novelty in business operational scenarios. Although its origins lie in operations and production management, it gained prominence during the development and popularization of Toyota production system practices in the 1950s and 1960s. And even though it's old, leaders of large companies today gain a competitive advantage by implementing transformations in how they manage time in their organizations.
The whole thing, cycle is the whole thing, right from the beginning to the end. Each activities, how they are routed, how they are scheduled, to keep on monitoring it. If there's some bottleneck, some portions are facing bottleneck, some portions are lying idle. So how do you minimize these things? How do you improve upon it? So that ultimately it is the total cycle time, how efficiently it has been done, at what time they have taken to finish it. All these things matters in the final product of the whatever organization you are working in. Yes, next.
Cycle time, lead time, and customer lead time. These three metrics serve distinct functions in workflow evaluation, not competing but possessing specific objectives. The point of convergence among them is representing the overall goal of measuring and optimizing deadlines using calendar days as the unit of measure. In other words, both cycle time, lead time, and customer lead time measurements refer to counting calendar days of a delivery without excluding weekends or holidays.
Cycle time is the total time in completing the process. Lead time is when, how much lead time when you require something, how, what time, at what time you should order it. And customer lead time, when the customer orders, how many days in advance you should get the order. So all these things together, they're not competing with each other, but you have to see to it that these things are maintained properly, so that finally whatever things you are delivering is reaching the right person at the right time, at the right cost. Here it
Cycle
is.
time, lead
It is.
time, and customer.
It measures the right time required to complete a single task. Lead time, it represents the total time elapsed from start to finish of a process. Yes, read it, read it.
Cycle time. It measures the time required to complete a single task or specific activity within a process. For example, in a software development process, cycle time can measure the time it takes for a developer to fix a bug after being assigned. Lead time. It represents the total time elapsed from start to finish of a process encompassing all stages. For example, imagine a t-shirt manufacturing process. Lead time would include from receiving raw materials to delivering the finished product to the customer. Customer lead time. It focuses on the total time a customer waits between placing an order and receiving the product or service. In an e-commerce company, customer lead time measures the period from order placement to delivery at the customer's doorstep.
Yes, I mean, e-commerce, they're trying to reduce this. They you pay them extra, they reduce the lead time. You, the moment you place the order, you might get it in 1 day or 2 days or maybe weeks. So this affects your customer base. So here all three are represented: upstream, downstream, suspected needs, cycle time, commitment point, lead time when you are committed to finish the work, customer lead time when the customer expects the product. Yes, continue.
In
Continue.
summary, cycle cycle time measures the time of an isolated step of the process. Lead time measures the total process time, and customer lead time measures the total process time from the customer's perspective. Together, these metrics enable the identification of specific bottlenecks, allowing comprehensive operational efficiency improvement.
To lead cycle time, the way working from where, when you started making that product and when it उससे बड़ा हुआ तुम्हारा लीड टाइम, और सबसे बड़ा, बिकॉज आफ्टर द कस्टमर हैज प्लेस द ऑर्डर, वो बनना शुरू हुआ, एंड देन बाय द टाइम इट, so that is the largest of all these three. But if you keep on monitoring all the process, you can easily identify how to minimize bottlenecks or idealism. Yes, next.
Challenges in implementing cycle time. Developing the ability to reduce delivery time is not easy or achievable overnight. It requires a fundamental overhaul of how a company's products or services are delivered to customers, meaning various parts of the organization will have to work together in new and different ways. However, nowadays the penalty for standing still is much greater than the cost of change. Here are the main challenges in implementing cycle time. Data collection. A precise and reliable data collection system is needed to measure the time spent at each stage of the process. This may require investment in tracking and data logging tools.
Yes. Next.
Process stage definition. At the outset of implementation, it's important to clearly identify the process stages to be measured and determine the start and end of each one for proper measurement. It's common for employees to believe that focusing on value creation is sufficient since everyone works on the same product or customer. However, despite good intentions, without a visible and understandable workflow from start to finish for all employees, the company becomes a tangle of conflicting teams. Therefore, map out the entire workflow, which requires collaboration from different teams to accurately define stages and each one's role.
As you know, each one is working for whatever product the customer desires. But if they don't understand each other, they will be tangling with each other and will not be doing the work properly, and that will affect the quality and the price of the product. So it is better to be very clear cut what each one has to do, when each one has to do, and when the final product should reach the customer. So very clear clarity and accountability should be there. If something goes wrong, so there should be someone accountable to not passing out the bugs. So for the final, finally achieving the goal, it is very clear whatever work you are doing, because it requires a lot of people, very complex situation. So clear cut direction and decision should also be very clear why this decision was taken. It should be conveyed to everyone so that everyone understands and works accordingly. Next.
Team engagement. Successful cycle time implementation depends on team engagement and involvement. Resistance to change is one of the main barriers faced by companies. To avoid resistance, it's important to communicate the goals and benefits of cycle time, provide adequate training, and encourage active participation of the team in the implementation process and continuous improvement. Identifying bottlenecks. Cycle time can reveal bottlenecks and choke points in the process. Identifying and resolving these bottlenecks may require changes in workflow, resource reallocation, or operational improvements, posing a significant challenge.
So team engagement, as I said, functional relationship is very important, and continuous improvement. They should know, understand clearly why we are doing it, how we should be doing it, what is the role of each and everyone, so that things don't get entangled with each other. They should work for the final uh, process which the customer wants, or the product which the customer wants. Then naturally, if you keep on monitoring it, you will be easily identifying the bottlenecks or choke points, and then taking the rectifying measures so that these things are eliminated, or and taken care of. Whatever rectifying measures have to be taken immediately. This is kind of, instead of standing alone, do something. कभी कभी बहुत काम आ जाता है तो हम घबरा जाते हैं, चुपचाप खड़े हो जाते हैं. दैट शुड नॉट बी देयर. वी शुड do something about it, because if you don't do it, that will, whatever problems you are facing will never be solved. What are the...
Strategies to reduce
Yes.
Strategies to reduce cycle time. Numerous strategies can be enumerated to reduce cycle time, with the first influencing all others. Understanding that companies with the cycle time culture distinguish themselves from traditional organizations in structuring work, measuring performance, and viewing organizational learning. Such companies prioritize teams over functions and departments, using time as a critical performance metric. Furthermore, they insist that all employees understand customers, competitors, and internal operations of the company, not restricting this responsibility only to top management. Without this understanding, the use of cycle time data may not work. In this context, leaders and managers play a central role in implementing this culture. It is up to them to set clear goals and objectives related to cycle time, provide adequate resources for improvements, remove obstacles, and encourage collaboration among teams.
So it is a integrated effort of both the person who's working and the person who are governing, managers as well as workers, because it is the duty of the managers that they should make the whole process very clear to the workers, and the workers should follow it diligently, so that whatever they are doing, they are able to produce in the right quantity and right quality, and deliver it at the right time. So if these strategies are followed, there's no question that whatever you're doing your best.
Addressing these issues, various strategies can be employed, such as eliminating unnecessary tasks, identifying and eliminating any step or activity that doesn't add value to the process, thus reducing the total time needed to complete it. Standardization and simplification of processes. Analyzing existing processes and identifying opportunities for simplification and standardization to reduce complexity and the time needed to execute them. Task automation. Identifying processes that can be automated through technology, such as the use of software and automated tools to streamline process execution. Continuous improvement. Implementing a culture of continuous improvement, encouraging the team to identify and propose ideas to optimize the process and reduce the time needed for its completion.
So it is very clear that first thing, don't do unnecessary thing, eliminating unnecessary tasks. Standardization, be very specific how the thing has to be done, and make the whole process, as far as possible, simple, so that people don't get confused. Then wherever possible, automate it. Then continuous improvement, as the Japanese have coined this word kaizen, that don't be satisfied with what have you done, try to do better next time, and so on. So this cycle has to go on.
Benefits of reducing cycle time. Every manager's idea is to design a company that operates without the barriers, errors, or waste that characterize most organizations. In practice, tackling this challenge is complex. However, as productivity and delivery speed increase, process efficiency improves, resulting in less time spent managing crises and more time available for planning and executing competitive activities. The main benefits derived from reducing cycle time lie in these three fundamental pillars for any business: productivity, speed, and efficiency. Understanding how these benefits can efficiently contribute to improving your company's process is a good strategy.
This is one thing which will really improve your customer base. Product should be good, the desired quality, the desired price, all this should has to be maintained, and at what speed it has been delivered, and how efficiently it has been manufactured. Because efficiency only will reduce the cost of the product. Here, all these three things are explained.
Time-based management. Time-based maintenance (TBM), also called periodic maintenance, refers to routine maintenance tasks performed on an asset at fixed time intervals regardless of its condition. As a type of preventive maintenance (PM), the goal of time-based maintenance is to prevent failures before they happen and improve asset performance. For example, changing the oil in your car every 1,000 miles as opposed to the manufacturer recommended 3,000 miles may lead to fewer problems, but comes at a cost. While a lower risk of failure may be a reward in itself, money and time are wasted performing the oil change more often than recommended.
See, time based is by the manufacturer, you are given a timetable. For here, the example is of changing the oil of a car after every 3,000 miles. You can do it after 1,000 miles also, because this will be keep your car in a more better condition. The chances of failure will be less. So it depends upon situation to situation, whether you just follow, maybe the 3,000 miles is a more optimum, because changing it after every 1,000 miles will increase the cost. So it depends upon the client, whether he or she is ready to bear this extra cost, but at the same time the prospect of failure is reduced. So it depends. It also depends about your available affordability. So situation to situation, these things will. Time based management is very important. If you want all your machinery to be in good condition and your productivity to smoothly flow.
Time-based maintenance examples: periodic time-based maintenance is required to keep assets in a proper operating conditions. Examples include turning up a furnace every year before winter, clearing debris out of gutter every 6 months, visually inspecting fire extinguishers each month, changing an air filter every quarter, lubricating pumps every 6 weeks.
So you keep on monitoring things and seeing that they are working in a good condition. If they So that whatever lubrication or filter changing of filter is required, if it is done timely on time, the chances of something going wrong with the machine is reduced. So this time based maintenance is very essential, so that your productivity does not stop. There is flow of goods and services without any hindrance.
Advantages and disadvantages of time-based maintenance. Advantages of TBM. Like other types of maintenance, TBM can be beneficial when used as part of larger maintenance management strategy. Minimal training. Time-based tasks are relatively simple and usually don't require extensive training to learn. Lower long-term cost. Compared to breakdown or corrective maintenance (CM), time-based maintenance is relatively inexpensive, easy to implement. Unlike predictive maintenance (PDM) or condition-based monitoring, time-based maintenance does not require additional sensors or equipment to decide when assets require service. Predictable schedule. Since time-based maintenance follows a set time interval, maintenance schedules are consistent and predictable, effective for continuously running assets. Wear and tear is more predictable for assets that run continuously, allowing maintenance work to be scheduled at regular intervals.
Next, disadvantages.
Disadvantages TBM. Organizations that rely heavily on time-based maintenance can face some challenges. Ignores other causes of failure. Time-based maintenance assumes that failures are age-related and does not take into account the actual condition of assets. As many maintenance professionals know, many breakdowns and failures do not occur at regular predictable intervals. Too frequent schedule introduces risk. A maintenance activity may introduce a risk of incorrect reassembly, misalignment, or other errors. A too frequent maintenance schedule heightens this risk. Too infrequent schedule leads to excessive failure. A too infrequent maintenance schedule risks preventing predictable asset failures. Ineffective for assets run occasionally. Assets that are used occasionally will not wear down at the same rate as assets that are used continuously. Therefore, TBM is not optimal for all assets, but can be used as part of a larger preventive maintenance strategy. Increased cost from excessive maintenance. Performing maintenance on assets that don't need it leads to unnecessary downtime, labor, and consumable part costs.
See, every time it is, maybe sometime things which are being used very frequently. Time based management maintenance is very necessary because it will be affecting your productivity, so that you have to keep all your machines in a good condition so that your productivity is not but suppose when you are using it occasionally, unnecessary money will be wasted on that. It depends upon the criticality of the situation, it depends upon the criticality of the equipment. uh, in preventive maintenance, what happens is, or corrective maintenance is, what happens when something goes wrong, then you take the corrective action. So in that, some time is lost. So in time based management, you try to avoid that, but it depends. If it is used very frequently and it requires maintenance at regular intervals, then you go for it. Otherwise, you can skip it also. It depends upon situation to situation. Okay.
Just in time.
Just one second, one second. If you have any question, ask me, because I think it is almost time. We'll continue tomorrow.
No problem.
I wanted to know about ERP system, like with more
Pardon?
examples. This
Oh,
ERP system.
ERP system. See, any organization needs systems which will look after its
मैम
finance,
आपका कैमरा कैमरा कैमरा
marketing.
मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूं मैं कि आई वाज वर्किंग विद नेस्ले. तो व्हाट हैपेंड दैट कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर इज सिटिंग इन वाराणसी, प्रोडक्शन इज हैपनिंग इन पोंडा और मोगा, पंजाब. Question was that ki how much sales is happening and what production procurement should be there for the purchase department. How come you will tell? And somebody is sitting in Switzerland, they wanted to know that what will be the future sales or what sales has been done in the past, on day to day basis, on the real data basis. Sitting in Switzerland, but they want to know the sales of particular month, what is happening in Varanasi. So, how come it will be possible? It can be possible if billing is happening through one particular software, right? So, what will happen? Suppose some order is there, distributor has made the bill, and that has gone for the supply, and after that, in the evening, if something is returning back, after returning back, now you know that what was the sales of the day. Immediately within that time, Delhi branch is also aware, Moga factory is also aware, Switzerland is also aware. Just like what is happening with the Google Sheet. You just fill the data, whosoever is using that Google Sheet, immediately they can see the changes. So that immediate functionality is bringing you for the enterprise. And second most important thing is, suppose a purchase department wants to purchase some raw material, so they will come to know immediately ki how much sale has happened and how much production I have to do for the next 20 days. So immediately they will plan accordingly. They don't have to go and ask managers and then collect the data, then summarize, then something, so many cumbersome process will be there. Now, within a click, they will collect all the data from all the department, from all the, places. Clear? Suppose HR wants to know that how many people are working, where the territory is vacant. They will go, they will ask the manager, then they will send the report, they will send the mail, they are on the traveling. What will happen immediately? They will see that ki how many manpower has been required, how many people have resigned, how many people I have to recruit. No need to ask anybody. So everything got automated because enterprises are connected with each other. So all the data is in front of, just like a Google sheet. You can also see, I can also see. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so quick feedback for the
I
day.
think
Yeah,
sir has
yes, ma'am.
explained it beautifully.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you're saying something?
I say you have explained it beautifully. It is like the
Ah,
different organs of a body which are working together for the benefit of our body. They don't
that, that,
have.
that, that is the difference
They
of the
are
working.
integrated.
यस यस दैट इज द डिफरेंस ना, कि जब
Hmm.
आप एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करके आते हो तो आप एक्चुअल में
Hmm.
देख के आते हो कि हो क्या रहा है।
Hmm.
और हमें पता है कि जब ईआरपी इम्प्लीमेंट करना था तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम हुई थी, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर वर नॉट रेडी, जो आप मेंशन कर रहे थे, क्योंकि वो पुराने सॉफ्टवेयर में काम कर रहे थे, उनका अपना लोकल काम बढ़िया से हो रहा था, तो दे वर नॉट रेडी टू इवन कटिंग द बिल बिकॉज दैट रिक्वायर लॉट्स ऑफ डिसिप्लिन, कि आप ऐसे बिल काटोगे, बहुत सारी गलतियां होती थी। करीब 6-7 महीने, 1 साल तक तो हम लगातार उस पर काम करते रहे, लगातार 1 साल तक काम किया, तब भी उसके बाद उनका मैन पावर जो टेक्निकल कंपनी है उसका तुरंत हॉटलाइन पे रहते थे कि कहीं कोई दिक्कत हो, बिल काटने में दिक्कत होती थी। तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में सालों लग जाते हैं इसको। इट वॉज नॉट दैट मच इजी टास्क, बट फाइनली जब हो गया तो एवरीबडी वॉज वेरी हैप्पी because now everybody is having the same process. Yeah. So quick feedback, Smriti, what have you gained from today's session?
So today's I learned about aggregating, disaggregating, master schedule, MRP, ERP, DRP. So for example, confectionery in a confectionery store, uh, when they buy all the raw materials in bulk, that will be aggregating, like sugar, flour, milk, dry fruits, and then they plan for the next 6 months or 18 months, that will be aggregating. And when they decide what to make of those flours, like sweets or samosas or cakes, that will be disaggregating. And then they can make a master schedule or operational plan, like how what will be made each day. And then master schedule will be like what to make in the evening, when what to make during lunch break, like samosas or kachoris, and what to make when the sweets are made, that they can be stored the whole day. uh, and like how they are stored for a day or for 2 days, and what is their shelf life. So all this can be done in master schedule, and all this process can be automated through ERPs, or the capacity of the confectionery store, the production can be known through CRPs. And if they have many stores in the all over India, or internationally, then they can use DRP to distribute the products that they are making. So this is all that I learned.
Brilliant. How it is
Yeah.
affecting your decision making power or your confidence level by going through all these things? Are you feeling that these things are you going to utilize in anywhere, or it's just a boring subject? Because it's a very, some can say very intensive. So, how are you feeling after going through all these terminology, ERP, DRP, and all those things?
So initially, when the classes started for this subject, so it was like a bit technical. So,
Hmm.
but when you and ma'am told us to like connect it with the daily life, and
Hmm.
then when I started to do that, it became a bit easier to do, like understanding what is written and implement, like imagining it in daily life, conceptualizing whatever is written with the daily processes that we see around us. So whenever
And
I go somewhere, I try to like organize like what is all happening, what is and like how are the like I try to categorize them, like this process is happening here, this process is happening here, and what's the conclusion? Like I try to interrelate all this. So it has definitely improved a lot of my observational and inter skill to interrelate things and how to uh, implement those things, how to learn from those things in my daily life.
that will make you a great manager because
Yes.
you will
Thank you.
take your decision from daily life observation. Because this habit will create long term habit in you, right? कि अगर आप जूता भी पहन रहे हो तो उसमें भी मैनेजमेंट है. Are you getting a point? That is the power
Yes,
of
sir.
this management course. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, Pari, tell me what have you gained from today's session?
So in this class, I learned about aggregate planning and aggregate production planning and planning strategies, how companies distribute their goods, how they plan the production, and how they produce their goods, how they maximize their capacity, efficiency, and how they use technical and like AI support and technical support to maximize their production and efficiency.
वेरी गुड. परी थोड़ा और बोलना शुरू करो. अभी भी हाइड कर रही हो, बाद में इसकी कीमत चुकाओगी. मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ, ठीक है? तब वक्त नहीं होगा सुधरने का. आज मेरे पास एक लड़का आया था, बीएससी कर रहा था, बीएससी कर चुका था, जगतपुर से. जगतपुर डिग्री कॉलेज है. 3 4 साल, 3 साल उसने करीब 50,000 रुपये खर्च किए बीएससी करने में. मैंने उसको एक पेपर दिया केवल इंग्लिश पढ़ने के लिए. कैन यू इमेजिन कि वो एटिकेट की स्पेलिंग लिखा हुआ था, वो पढ़ नहीं पा रहा था कि क्या लिखा हुआ है. और वो बीएससी है, फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री मैथ. तो मैंने पूछा उससे कि तुम जो पढ़ाई पढ़ के आए हो उसके बेसिस पे तुम खुद अपने आप को अपनी कंपनी में जॉब दोगे? तो उसने कहा नहीं सर, नहीं दे पाऊंगा. या साक्षी, टेल मी what you have gained from today's session.
So today's class was really different from the previous classes. Earlier, the classes that I have attended, the terms were very much known to me, but this class it was like very different, very new terms, and the depth that I got to know about how aggregate planning is done, how MRP1 is there, and how MRP1 is related to material management and how the production happens. And there is MRP2, where we talk about manufacturing finances is involved in that, the production and the distribution. We got to learn the different processes that we don't see, but it is taking places in all the other companies.
So it will make you a good manager because once you start implementing in your or observing कि where things are actually getting applied, right? So
Yes.
good, I think you guys have done. आपका 1 तारीख को एग्जाम भी होगा, लास्ट डे जब होगा 8th डे मैम का, तो एक मैनेज एक सिंपल प्रेजेंटेशन टाइप से मैम पहले ही आपको दे देंगी. या मैम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि एक जो भी आपको प्रेजेंटेशन होगा इनका.
नहीं नहीं, I'll ask them questions. Five
अच्छा
questions
अच्छा.
as well.
हाँ ठीक है, तो वो आप एक प्रेजेंटेशन बनाने को दे देंगी तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा कि इनको थोड़ा आसानी हो जाएगी. अदरवाइज तो मतलब सब्जेक्ट बहुत वास्ट है. इतनी सारी चीज़ें कहाँ वो फिर रटने लगेंगे जहाँ से हम इनको वापस हटा के लाए हैं.
I've changed it.
हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है, मैं
I'll
बात कर लूँगा
ask them
आपसे.
some.
एक कोई एक टॉपिक दे दीजिएगा जिसमें ये
Mhm.
प्रेजेंटेशन बना सकें या रियल लाइफ का रियल लाइफ प्रोजेक्ट बना सके, समथिंग लाइक दैट, so that they can explain the things in a real scenario rather than.
अरे आजकल के
क्योंकि हमें
बच्चे
बुकिश नॉलेज
प्रेजेंटेशन
नहीं
बनाने में
चाहिए
बहुत
इनको कि वो
तेज हैं.
रट के वो डेफिनेशन बताएं. That is going to waste everybody's time. So anyway, thank you very much guys and all the best for your patience and बहुत अच्छा किया आप लोगों ने. कोई प्रश्न है आपके मन में परी? सॉरी, कोई प्रश्न है आपका? नहीं? ठीक है, चलिए, ऑल द बेस्ट गाइस, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू मैम।